Imagine a point where everything familiar ends, 12 kilometers down from the surface. That is where humanity truly stopped for the first time. Not because it lost the desire to go deeper, but because the planet itself began to resist. The Kola Superdeep Borehole became the boldest attempt to peer inside the Earth. It plunged 12 kilometers deep, and at that boundary, something no one had expected began. Metal stopped obeying. Rocks changed their nature. The Earth seemed to be guarding its own secrets. At a depth of over 12 kilometers, the temperature exceeded 200 degrees. This is not an abstract number from a textbook. This is an environment where ordinary materials lose their meaning, steel deforms, drilling tools break, and solid rock behaves almost like plastic under colossal pressure. Let me explain what this actually means. We are used to thinking of stone as something motionless and eternal, but deep beneath our feet it becomes soft and fluid. Pressure and heat transform granite into something living and resistant, and it was right here that the real struggle began. At first, everything went according to plan. Up to 7 kilometers, the work resembled a complex but predictable process. Calculations matched reality. Instruments showed expected values. Scientists felt confident. It seemed the path to the depths was open. But after the 12,000-meter mark, everything changed. Strange phenomena that no one had predicted began to occur. The temperature rose to 180 degrees Celsius. Yet scientists had predicted it would be twice as cold there. The difference turned out to be staggering and alarming. Imagine the scale of the structure itself. The platform lowered a column of steel pipes into the depths of the Earth. Its weight reached hundreds of tons. This column stretched downward through darkness, heat, and pressure. At its end worked a drill with sharp diamond tips. Under normal conditions, such a drill would cut through granite with ease, like a sharp knife passing through soft butter. But at depth, everything was different. The pressure reached 1,000 atmospheres. It compressed the walls of the borehole with crushing force. Under this pressure, the rock changed its behavior. It ceased to be solid bedrock. Instead, it became similar to thick, viscous honey. Imagine trying to dig a tunnel through something that constantly flows back. That is exactly what the engineers of the Kola borehole faced. And this is where one of the biggest problems of the entire project arose. Replacing even a single tool required incredible effort to retrieve the drill. The entire column of pipes had to be raised. This whole operation took an entire day of continuous work. One full day just to change a drill bit. And while the drill was not down below, the worst would happen. The viscous rock slowly crept back into the passage. The borehole narrowed, as though healing itself, and when the drill would return to the surface, they had to bore again, to break through sections that had already been passed before. Imagine this desperate struggle. You move forward, and the Earth closes the wound behind you. Every step had to be fought for twice. The planet did not want to let in uninvited guests, and it had every tool to prevent it. The metal of the pipes could not withstand the stress either. Under the load, the steel twisted into a spiral, like a thin thread in the hands of a giant. Sometimes the pipes simply snapped deep inside the borehole, and every serious accident meant the loss of months of work. When the drill string broke off, recovering it was nearly impossible. They had to abandon the old path forever and begin a new passage slightly to the side. All the accumulated work vanished in an instant. That was the price of every mistake at such a depth. And yet this exhausting struggle brought invaluable knowledge. The Kola borehole showed that the Earth's crust is far more complex. Its structure turned out to be nothing like what had previously been believed. Every new kilometer shattered old ideas and prepared real surprises for the scientists. The very first discovery astonished everyone without exception. At depth, scientists found water, not droplets of moisture, but a real hot, bubbling solution. Saturated with minerals and compressed under enormous pressure, this water was truly dangerous. At the slightest opportunity, it could turn into steam, instantly, explosively, destroying all the equipment around it. Imagine a boiling liquid trapped in a stone prison at kilometers of depth. It was merely waiting for the chance to break free, and this contradicted all the science of the time. The prevailing theory maintained something entirely different. It was believed that at depth, granite transitions into dense, dry basalt, and that water physically cannot penetrate so deep. The assumption was that solid dry rock rains down there, but reality refuted these calculations. Water was found at a depth of around 7 kilometers, among scorching granite, without light and without oxygen, in a place where the existence of liquid seemed impossible. This changed the understanding of how the Earth's interior is structured. The Earth turned out to be fuller of secrets than anyone had imagined, but the true shock lay ahead. In soil samples from a depth of more than 6,700 meters, biologists found something incredible. They discovered traces of life in a place where it was not supposed to exist at all. What exactly was hiding there? Fossilized remains of microscopic organisms. Scientists counted 24 species of ancient plankton, and the age of this rock was staggering to the imagination, about 2,000 million years. That is 2 billion years of the planet's history. Pause for a moment and consider that number. These tiny organisms lived in an incredibly distant past, and they did not remain in the surface layers of the soil. They were found deep down in the most ancient foundations of the planet. Life turned out to be older and deeper than had been assumed. This discovery shifted the boundaries of our understanding. It turns out that life emerged earlier than scientists had thought, and it penetrated where, it seemed, nothing living could reach. The Kola borehole opened a window into the deep past, and that past turned out to be full of life. Yet the romance of discovery went hand in hand with mortal danger. Along with water, flammable gases escaped from the borehole, primarily hydrogen and methane. They created a constant threat of a large-scale fire. Every moment on the platform was a risk. Workers wore protective helmets and kept their eyes on the sensors. Any accidental spark could cause an explosion. Imagine that tension day after day. You stand over a shaft that breathes flammable gas, and you know that one mistake will be your last. But the depths concealed something even more astonishing. It spoke. More precisely, it was made to speak. Acoustic sensors were used at the borehole. They listened to the work of the drill and the movements of tectonic plates. Here is the true physics of these sounds. Dense rock under colossal pressure becomes a giant resonator. The entire thickness of the earth transforms into a vast musical instrument. Shifts in granite layers produced eerie sounds. The creak of metal echoed in the depths. Add to this the work of the mechanisms themselves. The drilling fluid pumps created rhythmic pulsations. Together with the noise of the turbines, they merged into a strange symphony. Some said it resembled the moaning of an enormous crowd, as if human voices were drifting up from beneath the earth. It was from this that a terrifying urban legend was born. People began to retell stories about the sounds of hell, about how the drill had pierced the ceiling of the underworld, and that microphones had recorded the screams of the suffering. This legend spread across the entire world. But the truth was far more prosaic. Those terrifying recordings turned out to be a skillful montage. Someone assembled real sounds together and amplified the effect. The project director David Guberman recalled these rumors with irony. He knew very well where the sounds actually came from. And yet the real phenomena were no less striking than fiction. Once, the drill unexpectedly plunged into a void. Even though by all calculations there should have been a solid monolith there, this caused a sharp pressure spike and a strange acoustic shock that rolled through the pipes. What was actually hiding there? Scientists discovered a zone where gas under pressure was destroying the rock. It created a genuine subterranean rumble. It was the voice of the earth itself, not of otherworldly forces. But that did not make it any less eerie. There was one more sound that was feared the most. It was silence. A sudden silence in the speakers was more frightening than any rumble. It meant a loss of communication, or a serious failure of the drill somewhere in the depths. The Kola borehole proved one harsh truth. Drilling through the continental crust all the way is incredibly difficult. After all, its thickness reaches 40 kilometers. That is far too much even for the most ambitious projects. And so the scientists' gaze turned to the ocean. Beneath the water, the crust is entirely different. Its thickness is only 5 to 7 kilometers. That is several times thinner than the continental layer. The logic was simple and appealing. One must drill where the crust is thinnest. And so, in the 1960s, the Mohole project was born. Its goal was to drill into the floor of the Pacific Ocean, and not from dry land, but directly from the deck of a ship. It was a genuine technical adventure for its time, and it immediately ran into difficulties. The task turned out to be doubly complex. First, the drill had to be lowered to a depth of 3,500 meters, and that was only to reach the seabed itself, and only then could drilling into hard rock begin. Imagine this vast distance through the depths of the water. During the trials, a dangerous incident occurred. The vessel was caught in a powerful underwater current. This current was not even known to oceanographers at the time. The steel cables snapped taut to their limit. The drilling tower began to tilt menacingly. The mission was saved only by the captain's skill. He managed to hold the vessel on the edge of catastrophe. Had it not been for his expertise, the project could have ended in tragedy. The ocean showed that it is no less hostile than granite, and that was only the beginning. At the bottom, an unpleasant surprise awaited the researchers. Instead of soft sand, they found basalt. This rock is almost as hard as diamond. The teeth of the drilling tool wore out terribly fast, sometimes after just a few hours of work. Imagine this hopeless situation. You have lowered a drill through kilometers of water, and it wears out within a matter of hours against the rocky bottom. And to replace it, you have to raise the entire system back up again. The ocean floor turned out to be a true fortress. Decades passed, and technology made a tremendous leap forward. Japanese scientists created a unique vessel called Chikyu, but it stopped at 12 kilometers, having conquered only part of the way. We found water where it was not supposed to be, and traces of life 2 billion years old. Yet the mantle remained an unattainable dream for us. And now the real question is not whether our technology will hold out, but whether the planet itself will withstand our relentless curiosity.